Hi everybody, welcome to video module number 4, Evaluating Websites. In this video we will be looking at some different mnemonic devices or strategies for how to evaluate websites that you found on Google. So we are only talking about using these strategies if you are researching on Google. If you are using Google Scholar or any of the databases, you do not need to use these strategies because you can be fairly confident that everything that you find within the databases and on Google Scholar have been published in reviewed journals or have been vetted in some way, and you can be pretty confident in their credibility. This is purely for those websites that you find using Google or other search engines. And so let's get started. Just a little reminder. To get to this assignment task, you just scroll down to Module 4, Evaluating Websites, and then you should open up a separate tab for your assignment, which looks like this. And just keep that open because we will be stopping during the video so that you can complete this assignment. Alright, so getting started. The very first mnemonic device is called RADCAB, and I like this one. I've been using it for a long time, and it's kind of goofy, but it's got some really good things to think about. So if you just go through this in your mind when you look at different websites, it'll really help you kind of weed out those websites that might not be great for academic purposes. So the very first letter is R for relevancy. So if you think about what exactly is your question asking and what are the different pieces or the smaller questions that you'll need to address in order to answer your big research question. So this is where it can kind of help to have a concept map already planned. If you find an article that is sort of about your topic, but it doesn't really answer any of your research questions, it's just not relevant, and so you don't have to waste your time on it. The next one is appropriateness, A, and so this is it at your level? If it seems like it was written for a grade 2 student, or alternately, if it seems like it was written for someone with extensive graduate level experience, maybe it's not appropriate for you to be using that at this time. Also, if any website offends your core values, that is not appropriate either. Next one is D for detail. And so this is one where you need to ask yourself, does this website give me information that I don't already have? Does it give me enough detail that's new? And so what I see a lot of, I see this a lot especially if students are doing some kind of biographical research. Students will collect, let's say, 3 or 4 articles about the person that are all biographies, and each website biography pretty much says the exact same thing. But that student has had to take notes and cite all 4 of those articles, even though they're not giving them any new information. So just kind of pay attention. Is this giving you something additional that you didn't have before? Next one, C for currency. The importance of this one depends on your research topic. So if I am doing like a literary analysis comparing to kind of classics in the Western tradition, it probably doesn't matter if the articles I find were written in the 1980s or if they were written, last year. But if I'm looking at something about how different classes get different sorts of health benefits in the Philippines, it's important to be current, to have the newest information possible. And then for that kind of a topic, I would always need to pay attention to when the information was published. Next one is A, authority. If you forget everything else about this mnemonic device, make sure you remember authority, because this is the most important thing when evaluating websites. Who or what organization created the information? So we will be looking at a couple of things you can do to kind of make sure that you know that whoever wrote the article is a trusted expert in that field. And lastly, B for bias. Why is this information written? Is it trying to persuade you of something? Or was it purely written to provide information? Depending on the topic, this could be important, or this might, like for my literary analysis example, it's not going to be a big deal. If I'm doing something, however, about immigration, this is a very big deal. All right, the next mnemonic device that some people prefer is the CRAP test. And so this one you may have heard of, and it's similar to RADCAB. And then it's got currency, relevance, authority. This one has accuracy, which it sort of is addressed in RADCAB as well. How truthful is it? Has it been reviewed? Does it have evidence? Can you verify it elsewhere? And then P for purpose, and this is like bias. So crap or radcab, you can Google either one and you can kind of remind yourself of what these letters are. So whatever floats your boat, you can choose whichever one you like. So let's take a look at a couple of websites that can demonstrate how to use radcab. About.com, this is one that it kind of comes up regularly. Is this acceptable or not? 9 times out of 10, I would not use About.com. It's definitely not an academic source. One thing that is an immediate indicator is it's got lots of, let's see, oh yes, ads. This is what I was looking for. Any website that has advertisements generally is not an academic website. So for our relevant, I might think, is this relevant to my research question? And if I spend a few seconds scrolling down, I might say, yes, it is relevant. And then I could go to A, authority, if I'm doing radcab, or sorry, appropriateness. Is this appropriate? I can read it. It's not offensive. Great, meets appropriate. D, detail. Does this give me additional detail that I don't already have? And I could say yes, this looks like it's detailed. C, current. Now, because this is an historical topic, World War I, it doesn't really matter to me when this was published. I'm going to look anyway just because I think it's important to always be able to find when something was published. About.com I think doesn't always publish their dates. But in this case, date, currency could be fine because it's historical. Now, here's the thing. A for authorship, authority. Kennedy Hickman. Who is Kennedy Hickman? Click on him, and I can read that he's a museum professional and historian. He's worked at some naval or some military institutes. He's got his BA and his MA in history. That's not bad, but About.com, people tend to be kind of people that are just interested in various topics and they like to write about them. So unless your topic is super specific and the person is truly an expert or the expert, I would stay away from About.com. Next one, this one, History Channel. So let's say I found an article about the history of World War II, Treaty of Versailles, and let's say I found this one and I wanted to use it. Okay, it meets my relevance, my appropriate, my detail, my current, and then next I'm again looking for the authority piece. Well, it doesn't give me an author. I always look at the top and at the bottom to really make sure that I try hard to find an author, but it doesn't. So the next thing I need to do is look at the organization. What is this H history? Do I trust it? So the more I look at it, all right, it looks like it's some kind of a channel. All right, here's our other channels. So now I realize this is the History Channel. Something big like this, History Channel, National Geographic Channel, major newspapers, things like that, these are generally accepted as credible sources. So I can be fairly confident that my History Channel is an okay source. Next one. Now, what do you do if you find an article that looks great, but it gives you no clues? It gives you an author's name, but it doesn't tell you anything about who this person is. Here's what you do, and this almost always works. You copy their name and you just Google it. So if this person is a credible academic or a credible expert, 9 times out of 10, they will show up in here. The first several entries will be telling you about their career or about their expertise. So this guy, it says he's an economist. He actually received the Nobel Prize. Here's his education. He's got some websites. So he's an economist, and I want to just go back and make sure he's writing about the economy. Yes, so literally a couple of seconds is all it took for me to be confident that this Joseph E. Stiglitz is an academic source. This works many, 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 many times. So I would always go ahead and Google someone's name if in doubt. All right, next one. This, let's say we're looking at immigration. And I'm interested in finding out more about immigration reform. So here's a website. It doesn't have, wild graphics or really obnoxious colors. It's got a well-designed logo. looks like it could be pretty good. So then I want to find out maybe about, I want to find out more about this website. Most kind of websites from an organization will have an about section. This is a great place to find information out about them. So now if I read it a little bit more, I actually find out that this is a partisan, or this is a kind of a biased organization who is trying to make change in a certain way in immigration reform. So if I'm actually just looking for information about immigration to make my own decisions and my own judgments, this one is biased. So this one does not pass the bias test. Same with this one. Maybe I'm looking into the effectiveness of teen boot camps. All right, it's a pretty good question, but this one actually is from a website, if I start looking into it a little bit more, that is pro teen boot camp. So they actually link to different boot camps and talk about how they are really effective. Bias doesn't meet the criteria. All right, here's one that again has really no, it doesn't help me at all. It doesn't tell me anything. There's no author, anything. Here's what you can do if there's really no information. Go up to the top in the URL bar, take off everything after the .com or .edu or .gov, and there you go. This often is very revealing because it takes you back to the main page of the whole website, which then usually you can find out more about who created it, what the organization is, if it's through a university or what. All right, next one. All right, let's say I'm doing something about natural supplements. Do they work? Are they safe? This looks good. It's got some good information. It meets most of my criteria. It doesn't really have authority. But then I notice there's advertisements. They're selling supplements. They have a bias to make me want to think that supplements are good. So denied. All right, and then here's one I wanted to just bring up because this is an example of something that would not meet the appropriate requirement if I was just trying to write kind of a basic article or an essay about quantum physics. This is way over my head. Also has way too much detail. So this is inappropriate for me as well, even though it's totally academically credible. All right, and there's my Joseph Stiglitz again. So this is these are some of the things to think about. Radcab and crap. And just to remember, you can always take off everything after the .com. That's one trick. And then also you can Google author names. And also just make sure that you really think about that for every single website that you use. And so here you can actually pause your video, or actually here, let's look at the questions for this module. Question number 4, create a well-structured research question that is neither too broad nor too narrow. You've done this before in a previous module, so now you can create another question. So an example, what are the most effective methods for managing teen depression? And now you can pause the video and answer question 4, creating a research question. When you're finished with question 4, begin the video again. Moving on, question 5. Choose one of the 2 mnemonic devices described in the video. Type the name of this mnemonic device into the answer box. Choose one of the 2 mnemonic devices described in the video. Type the name of this mnemonic device into the answer box. Pause the video here. Start the video when you have finished question 5. Question 6. Choose 3 letters of the mnemonic device you chose. So for example, maybe I'll choose the 3 letters of CAP or RCB, any 3 letters in that mnemonic device that you chose in question 5. Find websites that meet each of these requirements and explain why they meet the requirement. So find websites that meet each of these requirements. Explain why they meet the requirements. An example, let's say I'm choosing R, C, and B. I find this website, I just paste in the link, and then I say, the article addresses my specific research question, therefore it is relevant, R. Here's one for C. Article was published in 2012, therefore it is current, C. B. Article was written by medical professionals and published in highly regarded medical website. Therefore, it is not biased. B. Pause the video here. Continue when you've completed the question. Question 7. Choose 3 letters of the mnemonic device. Could be 3 different letters, so CAP, RAB, and find websites that do not meet each of these requirements. Explain why they do not meet the requirement. So this time choose 3 letters again and find websites that don't meet the requirements, and then explain why they don't meet the requirements. An example, R. This article does not answer any part of my research question. Therefore, it is not relevant. This one, A, for authority. Article does not list an author, and the website is not from an established organization. Therefore, it does not have authority. And B, article was created by a religious website. Therefore, may have bias. So B, bias. Pause the video here and answer this question. Question 8. What is one way you can find out who, either the name of a person, the organization, or the company, created a web article? So if you are looking at a website and you don't have any idea who actually created it, there's no clue really about it, what can you do to find out who created it, or what organization or what company actually created this web article? Pause the video. Answer question 8. Question 9. If you know the author's name, what is one way to find out if they are a credible source for your topic? If you know the author's name, what is one way to find out if they are a credible source for your topic? When you have answered this question, you should submit your form and you have completed Module 4.